this is something that I've been thinking about recently, and I kind of named it this counterfactual gratitude. And it was I was someone who struggled with finding gratitude in my life. Now, even from a physical sense, I have this condition called Poland syndrome. So I'm missing my right pectoral muscle, two ribs, and like as an athlete, it was a bit of a challenge. And so I always found myself as a young lad constantly looking to everyone else and going, I wish I had that as well, or I didn't have this, and I wish I could be in inverted commas normal, right? And this wave came over me recently, and it was through a meditation, and it was based around being grateful for what I don't have to worry about. Right. So right now, I don't have to worry that not in a war zone. Right. I don't have to worry about sort of where my next meal is coming from, but I also don't have to worry that I can stand up and walk away. I can go to the gym and experience these things. And I'm not having to worry that those things don't exist in my life. And there's always that, I think it's that quote of a healthy man wants 999 things, and an unhealthy man wants one thing, right? And I just always get reminded by that. And it's sort of when you get struck by this, oh, I wish I had that, is to not necessarily look for that thing that you wish you had, but actually just kind of look at the thing that you are glad you don't have. So it's this kind of counterfactual gratitude that you have where you are searching for things. Oh, I'm actually kind of glad I don't have that. It's not a dominance thing. So I'm not saying, oh, I'm glad I'm not that person. It just doesn't, you don't have to compare it to another person, but it's just more, I'm just glad I'm okay in this situation, and I can be grateful for that.
Yeah, I think putting things into perspective like that can be really helpful because often when something's happening to us, we really catastrophize and feel sorry for ourselves and focus on all of the things we're missing. Um, I have a little injury at the moment, for example. It's nothing major, but it seemed all encompassing, even though it's like a 1 out of 10 pain. And I was speaking to a teammate at the gym the other day, and I was saying, "Oh, I'm a bit injured." And she said, "Oh, yeah, me too. But my Achilles is a 7 out of 10." And even just putting it into perspective in that way, I suddenly felt, oh, okay, maybe I should actually be grateful that mine's a 1 out of 10 and not ending my career at the moment.
Yeah, there's always something that you can lean onto where you're like, there's definitely something worse out there right now. And again, it comes back to this other part of gratitude where, by definition, people listening to this podcast, maybe even viewing the podcast, that just by definition and default that you can do that, there are already over 1 billion people that would instantly want to trade places with you right now. And if that doesn't just shock you into some form of gratitude, I don't really know what will. Um, I want to lean back to the success, the needing and wanting success, because that, as an elite athlete, can't necessarily be an easy move to make. Because I know so many elite athletes that are so defined by themselves as to the success that they have, the outcomes that they have. Did you start in a place where you found yourself needing that success, or defining yourself as success, and then did the work, and now you're in that place where you've just explained?
Absolutely. As a junior athlete trying to transition into the Australian national teams, there's this great pressure of needing to prove yourself. And it did feel like needing success because I wanted to be in the top 3 to start making those teams, which is what you require in athletics. I wanted to prove myself to the head coach and to the world that I was worthy of standing on an Olympic start line, which was always my dream. And it has taken a decade in elite sport and working closely with about 3 different sports psychologists to work on this idea of wanting it but not needing it. And I've modeled it off my teammates. So a few of the other women athletes on the athletics team, Nina Kennedy in the pole vault, Olympic champion now. Nicola Olaslager's in the high jump, Olympic silver 2 times. They demonstrate this knowing of who they are and knowing of their identity, this ability to disentangle person from persona or who they are from what they do. And I've just seen over the last number of years being on the team with them, they stand at the start of the run up for pole vault or high jump, looking very peaceful but fierce at the same time. And that combination is unbeatable. They just look like they know who they are. They've done the work. They know that there's a bigger picture beyond sporting achievements, but they're ready to really give it their all. It's not a complacency or a laziness.
Yeah, that is something that not many people have, because I think if you flip that, let's take Nina Kennedy for example, standing at the start of your run up for a pole vault. You take another athlete that might be really terrified. It's usually because they're focused on that outcome that they're about to have, pretty much saying something about them. If I don't hit this mark, if I don't hit that height, then I am a bad person. The athlete didn't fail in that moment. The human being failed completely. And I think that then instantly draws you into that fearfulness, that place of everything rides on this moment and everything rides on this outcome. In order for me to be someone, I have to do something.
Exactly. And I think a nice idea that comes off this is fear-based motivation and the alternative, which is values-based motivation. I was never aware of this concept until the eve of the Tokyo Olympics, where I had a lot of fear, and that was what was driving me. And once again, my sports psychologist sat me down and said there's an alternative, and that is to see what you do as a vehicle through which to explore your values. And I thought, what is this man talking about? But he basically explained that from a young age in sport and at school, in different areas, I came to understand that the only way to feel motivated was to avoid my greatest fears. So I would feel motivated to do well in a competition because I was terrified of my rival. I was terrified of letting my coach down. I was terrified of seeing a slow time next to my name. Any of these fears. And what he helped me realize was this fear-based motivation never really led to happiness or fulfillment. You just sort of feel relieved when you cross the finish line or you pass the test and those greatest fears haven't come true. A bit unsustainable. So tipping into values-based motivation obviously requires us to articulate what our values are. Some of mine within sport are the pursuit of mastery, being a good role model, leaving a bit of a legacy. And when I see sport as an opportunity to explore those values, the outcome ceases to matter because I'm exploring all of those and developing in the direction of my values, regardless of a medal or not.
If you enjoyed that clip with Jemima and you want to watch the full unedited version of this episode, then all you got to do is click right here. Go on, go.